It's such a small line, really. Barely a sentence. But the moment Hegerty said it out loud, something shifted. Because for years, millions of viewers have watched her walk across that bridge in her signature gray suit and quietly assumed it belonged to her. Turns out, that assumption has been wrong the entire time, and the way she corrected it says something surprisingly honest about who she really is underneath the governess. Here's the setup. Anne and her fellow chaser Sean Wallace, known to fans as the Dark Destroyer, have been out filming a brand new spin-off, The Chase Around the World, alongside Bradley Walsh. 6 pairs of contestants, 6 European cities, £100,000 on the line, and a format that finally drags this beloved tea time quiz out of a studio in Elstree and into places like Rome, with the Colosseum and the Trevi Fountain as a backdrop instead of a buzzer-lit set. And naturally, when you take recognizable faces like these and put them out in public, in costume, in broad daylight, things get interesting fast. Sean described being spotted by an entire stag party in Lisbon, and what's striking isn't just that it happened, it's how he chose to handle it. He said he'll always stop for photos with fans, calling it his way of saying thank you for the show's support. There's something quietly moving about that, isn't there? A man known on screen as an intimidating quiz villain, genuinely touched that strangers want a picture with him. It's the kind of detail that humanizes someone the format usually asks us to see as the opponent. But Anne's story takes a slightly different turn, and it's the one that really lingers. She talked about being recognized while filming in Rome, joking that she and Mark Labbett ended up practically hiding behind newspapers to avoid the attention. And then she described something similar happening in the Alps, where fans spotted the chasers mid-shoot and swarmed with excitement, seemingly unaware that filming was actually in progress. You can almost feel her exasperation and amusement tangled together in that moment. Being in costume, to her, was basically a giant sign reading "We are working right now," and yet somehow that signal doesn't always land with an excited fan. And that's where the real reveal happens. Because in explaining why people don't always realize she's working, and let slip the detail that's been quietly misunderstood by audiences for years. People assume she owns that gray suit. Like it's hers, hanging in her closet at home, something she reaches for personally. Anne's response wasn't defensive or annoyed, it was funny, self-aware, almost affectionate in its bluntness. She essentially said that if she did own it, it wouldn't survive very long in her wardrobe. Think about what that tiny joke actually reveals. The governess, this composed, sharp-tongued, seemingly unshakable presence who has intimidated contestants for well over a decade, has real feelings about that suit, and they're not fond ones. It's a costume, a uniform, something assigned to her for the role, not a reflection of her personal taste at all. And there's something oddly comforting in that, because it reminds viewers that underneath the character, there's simply a woman who, like most of us, has opinions about the clothes she's made to wear for work. Meanwhile, Bradley Walsh was offering his own reflections on the new format, and his comments carried a completely different emotional weight. After 17 years anchoring the chase from inside a fixed studio, he described how different it felt being out on location, surrounded by genuinely stunning scenery instead of a familiar set. There's something almost wistful in how he talked about it, not complaining about the studio exactly, but clearly moved by the novelty of finally stepping outside those walls after so long. And then there was the moment he described that actually stopped viewers in their tracks. A couple who finished last in one city, utterly devastated, unable to even meet his eyes afterward. But then they fought their way back by beating the chasers head-to-head, and Bradley described watching their despair transform into pure joy in real time. That emotional whiplash, heartbreak followed almost instantly by relief, is exactly the kind of moment that sticks with an audience long after the episode ends. It's raw, it's unscripted, and it's the kind of television that no amount of production polish can manufacture. So what actually stays with you here? Maybe it's Anne's dry humor about a suit she never wanted in the first place. Maybe it's Sean stopping for photos with strangers who love a show he clearly still loves being part of. Or maybe it's that image of 2 devastated contestants turning their whole trajectory around in front of Bradley's eyes. What did you notice most? Was it the humor, the humanity behind the costumes, or that emotional turnaround Bradley described?